Welcome to another episode of Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino.
And sometimes Jared.
Down the Barrel Podcast is brought to you by the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association
and Wolf.Report. Wolf.Report, a platform dedicated to elevating the voices of Minnesota hunters, trappers, and outdoor enthusiasts. Join us in advocating for responsible wolf management in Minnesota. Share your reports, photos, and stories, and together we will ensure that they are seen by all.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, protecting the future of deer and deer hunting through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation.
So, the ENRTF. What does that mean, Jared?
That is the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund.
Yeah, there's been lots of talk about that lately online, and well, basically online.
Yeah.
Lots of misinformation. Yep. And I guess we'd like to, I guess, set the record straight for those that might trust us.
Yeah, I mean, at least put out what we know and what, try to get rid of some of the misinformation that we know is definitely misinformation.
Right.
Yeah, well, and I mean, personally, I get multiple phone calls and emails every day, with questions about the NRTF and what does this mean for Minnesota? Mm-hmm. Is this a tax increase? Is this, you name it. We've heard everything at this point. So, and we've mentioned it on the podcast, the last few, more just a call to action to vote yes on that renewal. But I think it'd be prudent on our part to dive in a little deeper and try to get the right info out there.
I think just take it, piece by piece, really.
Yeah.
Like the ENRTF. I mean, it's nothing new.
No.
It's been around since the 80s.
Yep. 88.
Right. Yep. And it's basically has to do with the percentage of lottery dollars going to the environment.
Correct.
Fund environmental projects, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's a dedicated funding source that we have to go back to clean water, clean air, and to promote and enhance our natural landscape, and when this passed back in 88, it passed with 77% support of Minnesotans. So wildly popular piece of legislation. To date, it's provided over $1 billion. That's billion with a B, that has gone back into the state of Minnesota and to our public lands.
Right. Which, probably has something to do with all the public land that we do have.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate here in the state of Minnesota.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think that's something that a lot of Minnesotans pride themselves on is our public land. And
right. Well, I think a lot of people probably take it for granted too. They just assume it's like this everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. You jump on your ATV and go for hours and miles and miles. Well, that's just not the case everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a very popular piece of legislation. It's done a lot of good around the state, and it's up for renewal this year.
On your ballot.
No matter where you are in the state, it will be on the front of your ballot. It'll either be in the middle or right column on that front side. So it's not mixed in with all those judges that are running uncontested.
Right.
So, there was a lot of, it's like,
there's always a lot.
People are.
I know. Right? It's like, do you leave it blank or do you vote for the dude?
Yeah.
Or the lady?
Yeah.
So
anyway, but leaving it blank is a no vote, right?
Correct.
Which if it does not pass, if people vote no, that money, that $1 billion over since the 80s.
Yeah. Well, it's around 80 million per year.
Okay. Yeah. So for 25 years, because I think that's how often it gets approved, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, whatever that equates, 80 million times 25, that's a lot. Instead of that money being reserved for conservation, outdoor, recreational projects only, it goes to the general fund.
Yep.
Where politicians, our favorite people in the world, can decide what to spend it on.
Yeah, right. I mean, well, and that's one of the big misconceptions that I keep hearing is that renewing this funding is just creating a slush fund for the DFL,
right?
Because the DFL is in power right now,
right?
House, Senate, and governor's office, right? And Minnesota is the longest standing blue state in the country. You know,
Right.
that's not changing anytime soon, whether you like it or not.
Right.
You know, so if you're going to try to claim that renewing the ENRTF bill and funding is creating this slush fund for the DFL,
Right.
not renewing it is what's going to create that slush fund.
And giving them free reign over it is
it's
going to create that.
$80 million that they can decide whatever they want to spend it on. At least through the ENRTF, we have a guarantee that is going back into Minnesota's public land, into our clean air and water, and our thriving wildlife.
And it's about as narrow as you're ever going to get that funding to
Exactly.
be.
Yeah.
And with that, it gets approved by the LCCMR.
Yeah. And that will not change.
Yeah. So the LCCMR is the Legislative Citizens Commission for Minnesota's Resources.
Yep.
And that is an appointed group of folks that are half legislators and half private citizens, right? And so they don't approve where the funding is spent. They make recommendations, right? So they review all of the applications for this funding. And then they say, yeah, I think this is worthwhile, or no, maybe next year, you know?
Yeah.
And then that from there, they pass it on to the legislature. And so they're the ones who give the final approval is the Minnesota's Congress.
I attended that meeting that was, a couple weeks ago that they did in the evening about the ENRTF.
Oh, yeah, the webinar.
Yeah, the webinar.
Yep.
I attended that, and that was, I wish more people would have attended it, because they talked about a whole process.
Yeah.
How they get hundreds of these applications for these projects to be funded through that. And so this LCCMR committee weeds through these hundreds of projects and says, yes, no, not that much money, little money, blah, blah, blah. And then they take even a portion of those. So you get hundreds in, and only, let's just say 15 of them get approved to move on to that next step.
Yep.
And then that next step would obviously be to the whole legislation to approve.
Yep.
In anything that I've read so far, other than what some of the naysayers are saying, that's still the process.
It is, where we're getting a little bit of this confusion or misconception in that folks are saying that we're removing that legislative oversight through this renewal. That's not the case. What they are referring to is 1.5% of that funding. So 1.5% of the $80 million annually, which I'm not a mathematician, but it's a small amount. It's 1.5%, right?
Yeah.
That is now being designated for small community grants, specifically in rural areas in the state. That's a hard word to say. Rural.
Yeah, you guys say it right.
Like me.
Right?
Rural.
But anyways, that 1.5% is now designated for these rural communities, these small communities. And they are tasked with the job of setting up almost their own mini version of an LCCMR, some sort of community-based oversight group that is then making the recommendation of, yes, I think this is a project we would like to see within our community. And then from there, it still goes on to be approved.
Right.
So there's really no argument there's no way to back up the claim that this is removing legislative oversight.
Because it's just not true.
And
It's simply not true.
And, they use, it's already a slush fund. Like you said, it goes to the general fund.
Right.
It's going to be more of one.
Way worse, because then it can be spent on anything.
Exactly. So, and I can kind of see where some of these people are getting their misinformation. One of them, I'm just reading this article that's brought to you by our favorite senator.
Oh, which one? I have a lot.
Yeah. He's a color. Green.
Green.
Yeah. And it is. Yeah, I don't like that color anyways. But anyways. So,
it's a fine color. It's a terrible name.
Then this news article, it reads, it will no longer be used for capital projects, but is going to be used more and more for research.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Research
how
is
dare
bad.
we know more?
And right now, if you look at it, I mean, some of the things that this money is going for the university, Apparently somebody hates the U of M. He must not have graduated.
I think you could say same thing with the word Minnesota in it.
Yeah. I swear they're sitting down like a bunch of kids and saying, what can we dream up? Study crevices and trees and how squirrels fly. Is that really what we want for clean water?
Well, obviously that doesn't have anything to do with
So he believes that maintaining access to the fund for other projects is important, which I don't see anywhere in any literature I've read where that's not the case. But he goes, let's look at what's really to bring us clean water instead of, or are we just going to fund agencies? Are we just going to fund the university?
So right there, he negated his whole argument. Yeah. Let's look at what it's really going to take to create clean water, right?
Right.
How do you do that? Through research, right? You're going to have to fund research if you're going to make informed decisions.
So kind of like follow the science, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And to date, approximately 10% of the ENRTF funding has gone towards research, data collection, and analysis, right? That's a very crucial 10%, but it's still only 10% that then allows you to be ethical. Is that a word?
It's a great word if it is, but I mean,
I think it's a word.
Yeah,
it
don't
does.
ask me.
Well, we can't use. Let's say
I can't even spell.
It helps you make better decisions,
right?
When you have
with
more
that
knowledge.
other 90% of the funding, your efficacy, I know that's a word, is going to be that much greater because of that 10% that was devoted to the research. Right?
And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Green is part of the committee, right?
Yeah,
the
he is a member
LCCMR.
of the LCCMR.
So if I would look in the mirror and say, well, if it isn't working appropriately, you need to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Right. And he's got some backing from his fellow people. But again, there's just I think they're misleading as to what truly this is about.
Right.
And
they don't ever give any specifics of why.
Right.
Why shouldn't we fund these projects, and why should we put all that money into the general fund? Which the general fund, I mean, Lord only knows what that'll go for.
Right. I mean, it could go to pay raises for senators,
and maybe that's
the DNR,
maybe
whatever,
right?
And I will agree with only a tiny less than a 0.2% is the wording that they have used in this is not very clear as to what's going on.
Yeah.
So the wording, although maybe I'm not the right one to read it, seems how I can't talk very good. So the wording on the ballot, shall the Minnesota Constitution be amended to protect drinking water sources and the water quality of the lakes, rivers, and streams, conserve wildlife habitat and natural areas, improve air quality, and expand access to parks and trails by extending the transfer of proceeds from the state-operated lottery to the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, and to dedicate the proceeds for these purposes.
Yeah.
It seems pretty clear to me.
Honestly, to me, it does too, but they're twisting it just a little bit, and I don't know why.
I don't see where the twist
other
is.
Other than that new amendment that was thrown in there with that small group.
The 1.5%.
Yep. But that doesn't say anything about that in here.
Well, right.
And that's just a portion of it, though. That's not the entirety of it.
Yeah, you're reading the ballot language, right? And it's you can only put so many words on a ballot.
Exactly.
It's kind of like trying to write a novel on Twitter.
Right.
You're pretty limited to how many words you can have. So it doesn't encompass everything. But this is the same legislation that passed in 88 with 77% support. The only two changes that are being made is that 1.5% being allocated for those small rural community grants.
So another thing that Mr.
Green,
that he says, and it reads, he even states, right now, the LCCMR already decides what projects are funded through the ENRTF, and the legislator approves the projects that are picked. Yep, we've stated that. This new iteration would take the legislator completely out of the equation, takes the people's voice away. In the ballot question that I read, Did it say anything about taking anybody's voice away or not going through the LCCMR?
No, I don't think anywhere it says take the LCCMR out of the equation.
No, not at all. That's still going to be there.
Right.
I remembered the second change.
Okay, what was it?
We want to jump into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah. So the second change to this legislation is that it is explicitly excluding wastewater improvement projects from receiving this funding. So in the past, that wasn't explicitly laid out.
Okay.
But it was through just practice and kind of precedent. They were excluded, but this is just making that explicit, that this is not going to construction or repair or improvement projects for wastewater facilities, because it needs to be devoted directly to our environment.
Right.
So those are really the only two changes to this original legislation that passed. And again, 77% voted yes back in the 80s. And I guarantee you there's not a person in the state of Minnesota that has not benefited from this legislation. So
right.
I again would highly encourage everyone to vote yes. A non-vote is a no vote.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to keep beating that drum until election day, which is 2 weeks out.
Right. And what I like here is it also reads the money is currently being spent goes towards funding like non-government organizations, the U of M, and frivolous studies. The guy is just butthurt because he doesn't get to spend the money the way he wants to.
Right. And what organization is
really what it comes down
going
to.
to better spend that money than a university or somebody that does these projects? Who else does these projects? Right. He doesn't want to give to DNR. He doesn't want to give to U of M. Who do you want to give it to, Mr. Green?
Well, and the way that he writes non-governmental organizations like it's some kind of dirty word.
I know.
Right. If you are a member of MDHA or Pheasants Forever or Ducks Unlimited, Trout Unlimited, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and any of those, he's talking about you. You know, you are the non-governmental organizations that he's trying to keep you from getting this funding to do the work that you and your members want you to do.
Right.
And that's the other thing is it's backed by all of those organizations.
Every single one of them.
Yep. MDHA is part of this coalition, along with every organization I just listed. And then Minnesotans for the Great Outdoors is kind of the agency behind the campaign to get this to pass again.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, we're working hard to get the word out there to spread accurate information. Actually, the three of us, we're going to hook up with my dad and head down to Vermilion River WMA on November 2nd.
Yep.
To go to this wildlife management area that has received funding through the ENRTF. And we're going to go down and do a little pheasant, waterfowl, woodcock, whatever we can find, hunt on this public land that has benefited from this funding. So,
and it exists because of this funding, kind of like our Hides for Habitat program that MDHA does, was started with this funding.
Yeah.
And a big, I wouldn't say a majority, but a lot of people have donated to that.
Oh yeah,
program like 20%.
20% of the annual harvest. Yep. Goes through that program.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a great recycle program, and that's just a small portion. I mean, hopefully in the next few days, I'll be sharing a map of where all these projects are, and it is almost the entirety of the state, including the northwest angle.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how far, how the money was spent before or anything like that. Didn't know a whole lot about it, but after reading, doing research instead of doing my research one-sided, keeping an open mind, which is what most people should do nowadays. Don't get your news from one source.
Don't get it from politicians.
Yep.
I'm sorry, either side. Just don't do it.
Yeah, at least look on both sides. And
I wouldn't even look at both sides. I'd look at no sides and just find the source.
Yeah.
Well,
and don't believe everything on TikTok and everything else.
Yeah.
Facebook.
And that's the thing with all these social media people I'm doing air quotes, their research, right?
Right.
Yeah.
By research, what they mean is they are actively digging to find confirmation bias.
Yes.
Like this is my worldview. This is how I think. I'm going to go find something that agrees with me, you know, and that's not research.
Right.
That's
and if
the opposite.
You don't like ENRTF funding, you probably shouldn't go out hunting this weekend because you're probably going to be on land that was affected by that funding. After seeing that map, I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're against this funding, you are against conservation, hunting,
every conservation organization in this state you're against.
Every legitimate conservation organization, I would say.
Yeah. And I'm disappointed in a few legislators that have also backed this, that I thought were above what I thought.
I agree with you, Dino.
I guess I don't even know if that even makes sense, but there's some legislators that have joined the bandwagon, jumped on it, and are taking it for a ride. That it's like, you should just jump off. Don't be like these people.
That's the world.
I thought they were smarter, honestly.
But the other way I look at it is like, they're probably not up for a revote.
Well, that makes it easier.
Yeah, that's the world we live in these days. We are so partisan in this country that if one member, especially if it's a leader of your party, but if one member of your party decides this is what we're going to do, you don't break ranks, like
which I don't understand. I just don't understand.
I don't either. You were elected to represent the people who elected you, not to represent the letter after your name.
Right. Exactly. And I hate that they make this a political issue because this is not, because we're all hunters. I know hunters across the spectrum.
And
outdoors people, and not just hunters, fishermen, just outdoors people.
And I don't see how the LCCMR, that's split from what I could tell pretty well down the middle, on both sides, and then citizens and everything else. So I don't see how that can be political, other than maybe once it goes to the whole legislation to vote on, maybe that becomes more political. But up to that point, I don't see how it is.
And I just wish they'd give us examples. If that's the case, give us some examples.
Right.
Of how.
Tell us where that money was spent and wasted in your eyes.
Right. Yeah. And don't just say the U of M.
One misappropriation of that funding.
Yeah.
Right.
There isn't one.
And show me where in this new language it says the LCCMR is going away.
Right.
Where does it say that?
Yeah. You won't be the first group of people to review that 1.5% small community rural grants.
Right.
But you'll still get to see it.
Right. You're still the big dogs on the block.
Yeah. It's a shame, really.
But I guess when it boils down to it, just vote yes.
100%.
Right? Just vote yes.
Check out, MDHA's website. We've got information on there.
And I'm going to put some more up hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah. BHA's got information out there. All the others do, Pheasants Forever.
I sure hope
Ducks
so.
Unlimited. They've got to have the information. So, who are you going to listen to? Your local conservation group or your politician?
Right. Think about it for just a minute.
God, I would hope you listen to your conservation group over a politician.
Especially if you're a member, you've given us your money to try to help inform you, and we're telling you, vote yes on this.
Yeah, I would hope you'd actually listen to Down the Barrel guys.
Well, we are probably
first and foremost
the most trustful source in, if not this universe, the tri-universe area.
Okay, now you're starting to sound like a politician.
The tri-universe area. All right. You heard it here first, folks.
Right. God, I'm glad I brought my boots.
No.
Yeah. No, I would take your advice over any of the politicians.
If you take whatever a politician says to heart immediately without question, I'm sorry, but you need to really reevaluate.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm not saying even take our word for it. Go look for yourself. Read the actual language as it is in the bill or on the ballot. Because some of the things I've seen and heard online is just utterly false.
Oh, it's just
utterly false.
Yeah.
And I hate to say lies, but it's damn close.
Yeah, if it's not lies, it's just misinformation.
And maybe they just don't know. But I would hope these people that are saying this would actually take time to look into this.
Yeah, because honestly, I would think if it was if it was so easy to be a no vote, even if it was political, they would put out the true facts instead of having, well, it's used to fund this.
It's going to be a slush fund. What do you think it's going to be in the general fund?
Right.
I mean, it's like almost the opposite.
And I just don't understand the blaming of the U of M. Right. I don't get that. I mean, we
know who's blaming U of M.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so they do a lot of good things. They may do a lot of,
well, they probably do some things you don't agree with.
Right. That's how it works.
And I'm sure there's some waste. And if there is, the people in the LCCMR
aren't doing their job.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know how much waste there can be. 3% of that funding goes to administration of the funding.
Right.
3% is pretty minimal.
Yeah.
And that's typically that administrative area is the only wiggle room for waste.
And the way I look at it is usually you get more waste when you make that administration percentage smaller.
Yeah.
Because then it's just willy-nilly wherever.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I think what we're saying here is
vote yes.
Vote yes. Because
if you've already voted,
if you don't want to give the damn Democrats the money, vote yes.
Yeah.
Because if you give them all the money goes to general fund, and we know who controls that.
Yep.
And they have lasers.
Freaking laser beams on their freaking heads.
Sharks with
freaking laser beams. All right. So I was looking back at our Facebook pages from a little while ago, and we had a post about, this is one of our first posts, I think, that said, vote yes for the great outdoors.
Yes. I believe that was one of our first back in September.
Yep. So a few comments on here. And so should I say who it's from?
Yeah, absolutely.
Both of them? Okay.
I mean,
so
public
they
knowledge.
put it out there publicly.
That is true. So Carver County GOP states, doesn't this turn oversight to an appointed board with no accountability? This has potential to be a slush fund for the DFL.
Well, I feel like we've addressed that.
Yes.
So we've addressed that one.
That appointed board has been in charge of this funding from the start.
Yeah.
And will remain to be.
LCCMR, and they'll still have that oversight.
Yeah.
And what was the second point they tried to make? A slush fund.
Slush fund.
Yeah. And again, voting no would create the slush fund because it would go into the general fund and they could spend it however they want.
Right.
At least this way, we know what's going to our public lands.
Yeah, exactly. So then there was a response to that from Wiesenberg. States,
Senator.
Yeah.
Nathaniel
states we need to vote no. There will be no oversight for the next 26 years if this passes. I bet hunters aren't even aware of the funding that goes towards drag shows for children from money that should be used for the environment.
He's this guy a comedian because it's funny as shit.
Let me repeat this. I bet hunters aren't even aware of the funding that goes toward drag shows for children from money that should be used for the environment. What shows TV does this guy?
I'm sorry.
I know. So, can we just make up stuff too?
Somebody had shared a post that Senator Wiesenberg had made a while back.
Yeah.
It said something like, I live in the MDHA director's head rent free or something like that. Sounds like drag show performers live in his head rent free.
Something.
I mean, how do you connect those dots?
I don't understand.
Yeah, I know.
That's like,
must be some numbers I'm not seeing.
It's like, did you know the money goes towards to see if the sun has lava?
So basically what I think he's saying is the LCCMR is approving funding for drag shows for kids, which Steve Green is a member of the LCCMR. So if I'm connecting dots, I would say Steve Green
is a performer.
Is approving funds for these drag shows.
Yeah, I don't know. And then another statement after that.
I didn't know that. I'm a hunter. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then it also states the MNDNR is actively working on decreasing the deer herd in northern Minnesota and wants to increase elk numbers. Why does MDHA want to give them money to decrease the deer herd?
Because I'm a hunter.
This is still Wiesenberg?
Yeah. We're giving them money?
No,
we're not giving
them money. I think he's implying that because we're saying vote yes, we're giving them money through that. But again, this is funding coming through. When we talked about this before, those assholes in front of you with their scratch offs at the gas station. This is their money that is then being turned around to restore and protect your public lands. And that funding has to go through an agency, whether that's the DNR or MDHA or Pheasants Forever or Minnesota Land Trust. One of these organizations is actually going to take that funding, put the boots on the ground, and make that work happen. So this is, I mean, that argument makes no sense. Like it's not a slush fund for the DNR. It's not a slush fund for anyone. This is paying to protect, restore, enhance your land that you own as a citizen of Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's this was a different post, a more recent post a gentleman put on here. I hear this bill has no accountability, so the state can spend as sees fit. Well, we've addressed that as well.
Yeah,
it does have accountability. The LCCMR.
Yep.
Right. If you don't want accountability, vote no.
The LCCMR doesn't say approved, spend it. You know, they say we think this is worth taking a look at and approving.
Yep.
Legislature, what do you think? You know, so there's a lot of oversight.
Yeah.
And I think with that added committee, they probably added a little bit more oversight for specific projects.
For those small community grants.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they didn't take any committee or any process away.
No.
They added one.
Yep.
I was going to try to look at Backcountry's thing and see if they have anything.
Well, I don't know if Backcountry. I know Steve. Was it Steve Lean? One of the originators. He posts a lot about it.
Yeah, here's a vote for public land. You know, but that talks about that Vermilion River WMA that we're headed to.
Well, so Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, they'll be there.
They will. Yeah. Mike. I forget his last name, but Mike from BHA, he's going to be there as well. He'll be speaking. I'll be speaking.
Or is it Mike Lean?
No. I can't remember his last. Verhoeven?
Maybe.
Is that right?
Well, we can ask on Friday night.
There you go. But yeah, so Mike from BHA will give a little speech there. I will, and then I believe it's going to be Sabin from Pheasants Forever. Will be talking as well.
Yeah, so a great group of people.
Oh yeah, should be a good event.
Yeah, I mean it's Pheasants Forever, MDHA, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and Down the Barrel.
Right.
DTB will be there.
I think they'll let us on Monday.
I hope so. Be kind of cool.
If you keep your mouth shut.
If you don't talk. Oh, hey, you got a new shotgun to go.
I did. I got me a Weatherby.
Yeah.
I love me some Weatherby.
I know, and you shot that over the past weekend.
I did, and I really like it.
Yeah.
And I think you shot it. I thought you said you liked it.
I really liked it.
What
It's nice.
What was I shooting at?
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say on here what I was shooting at.
Oh.
Grouse, actually. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I was shooting at grouse.
Yeah. Did you get any?
I did not.
Okay.
We did shoot some clay targets, I'll say.
Yeah.
We did.
And I did hit a bunch of those.
Nice.
Yeah. It's actually.
I mean,
really
against
nice
my 8-year-old nephew and my 10-year-old nephew, I whooped.
Nice.
I mean, they were doing pretty good, but I did take them down.
They were doing really well.
Their eyes are better.
Yeah.
You know, they are lower to the ground, so they probably see it come faster.
Right.
But I beat them.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it was a nice shotgun.
I actually really like it.
The only it's too pretty for me because I have a pretty over and under my CZ, and it finally got some scratches when I started letting my son use it.
Well, yeah.
So
nice,
now it's
right?
all scratched up.
I am actually shocked that mine is not scratched after this weekend.
Yeah.
Because my son handled it a lot.
That was the reason why I went with my synthetic. It's like, yeah.
But I'll just tell you right now, Weatherby makes a good shotgun.
They do.
Who knew?
They do.
I got a Weatherby recently. I got the Weatherby Element.
Oh, yeah. See, I got the Orion.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. I needed a new waterfowl gun, and I've got quite a few teal this year. Got one goose, a couple wood ducks.
I'm hoping when we go down to the ENRTF hunt down at Vermilion River,
WMA.
I'll get my first pheasant.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've never gotten a pheasant.
No, I live in northern Minnesota. We have grouse.
That's true. Yeah. See, I grew up, that was 90% of the hunting I did was pheasant.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I grew up hunting deer and grouse. And bear.
Yeah.
That's about it. Real man stuff.
I've shot pheasant.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Grouse, dove, quail. Honestly, I'm not sure if I've ever shot a duck.
Really?
Wow.
Have you eaten one?
I have.
Was it cooked?
Well, it was cooked, but I didn't like it.
A lot of people don't like
I'm gonna be at the cabin this weekend. No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
No, I'm gonna go duck hunting soon. I'm gonna get a wood duck. I'm gonna cook it for you. We'll have a little date night.
I think he said this to us before.
Yeah, we can refrain from date night. You can just say you're going to cook for us and bring it in.
Yeah. Here's the better way to say that. I'm going to kill me a duck. I'm going to cook it up. I'm going to bring it in. We're going to have beers and duck, and you guys are going to love it.
And I'm going to feed it to you.
Yeah,
that's right.
Who's bringing the flowers?
What is it with this guy?
I don't know. Does he mean like,
this sometimes stuff is about to end.
But no, for real, we need to get some wood duck in here.
We need to have like a what do they call it? The guy was talking about it today at work. A feed, like a wild game feed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should have one of those.
We should.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a thing on TikTok the other day. This company does all sorts of jerky.
TikTok?
I don't know, dude. I get bored when I'm on the.
And you're like a 15-year-old girl.
Pretty much. No, it's really what I do when I'm on the throne.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this company that does all this jerky, and they do a lot of wild game jerky, bison jerky, turkey jerky, all that kind of stuff. It's like, Well, of course, I think it's probably pretty spendy, but that'd be kind of cool to get into.
Yeah.
Getting some of that jerky and trying it.
Well, I think it'd be a lot easier though with, let's say, a goose or a duck.
Right.
Because you're not going to have a large amount.
Right.
So when you make, let's say, a waterfall jerky, you just grind it up and you add some seasoning and just
I
dry it up.
Anytime I make jerky, I don't like to grind it.
Oh.
I like just take the muscle, slice it thin.
Do you freeze it a little bit and then slice it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had waterfall jerky.
Yeah.
Maybe goose.
I'm not talking
goose
jerky either for these ducks.
Yeah,
I will bring in a wood duck, and you're going to swear it's.
How are you going to cook it?
That's a family secret.
I mean, is it going to be like slopped in sauce, or is it fried
salt,
just
pepper,
seasoned
and cooked rare,
like grouse? Because I love me a grouse. Mm-hmm. I mean, the boys were shooting those grouse this weekend. I was like just salivating.
Yeah. No, it's going to be skin on, salt and pepper.
You take the feathers off, right?
Sometimes.
It adds to the whole flavor. And,
right. It gives it a little better texture.
The duck's not dead.
Well, you do like sushi, Dino.
Yeah.
I suppose that fish would be dead.
He's still dead.
No.
But no, just salt and pepper, and you cook it rare.
Ooh.
Let it rest.
All right. I will try it, but I will be honest with you, just like I am with your whiskey choices.
That's all I expect ever.
Okay.
And I will tell the world. You, I believe I will get honesty.
You definitely get honesty.
Unlike our politicians.
Right. 'Cause I will not. I don't have that kind of control.
Yeah. I'm going to vote yes for bringing the duck in.
I will vote yes for bringing me something to eat.
All right.
That tastes good.
I'll go shoot one because I'm out right now.
Okay. I have venison. I have venison from last year. My son shot a deer this weekend.
Yep. My son shot a deer.
Yeah, we got venison. We're good.
Yeah. Now we can take the pressure off.
I want to get me some pheasants.
Yeah, I do too. That would be fun.
Yeah. I mean, and I have the chance to get a pheasant because of the ENRTF fund.
Yeah.
You do.
Because in northern Minnesota, we don't have those areas with pheasant. Unless you want to pay.
Unless you want to go
and
to
I ain't going to do
farm.
commercials for anybody, but there's a few up here.
Yeah.
There is.
And if you want to sponsor us, just let me know.
Over the past weekend, I've known quite a few people who have gone.
Well, I think it's just that time of year.
It is. Yeah. So it's really nice. And, but.
Should I mention my Weatherby gun again? Weatherby.
Ryan.
I mentioned my Mossberg.
Ryan.
Synthetic.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with the Mossberg. I love me a Mossberg too.
Shoots good.
And Weatherby, I just always been a fan of Weatherby.
Yep.
Oh, me too.
One of my first guns my parents bought me when I was a kid was a Weatherby, and 300 mag. Hey, here's your first hunting rifle. Hold on.
What was your first gun?
My very first gun. I still have it.
Yeah.
That was legit mine for deer hunting.
Okay.
303 British. My dad bought it at a pawn shop. I still have that gun. I love it. Shot my first deer with it.
Nice.
I'll never get rid of it.
The last time you shot it?
20 some years ago.
Yeah.
I have ammo. It's ready to go. I think it's still sighted. It's in my safe. I love that gun.
How about you, Dino?
My first gun that was officially mine was
deer rifle.
Oh, you just said gun.
I said deer rifle. You guys said deer rifle.
All right. Well, screw that story. Well, the one that was officially mine, because I did get a used one, was my Thompson Center Pro Hunter 270.
Thompson Center, boy,
and I still have that.
You're young. Oof.
Otherwise, the first gun I shot a deer with was my dad's Model 70. No, Model 700 ADL. Yeah, Remington 270.
Yeah. How about you? First deer rifle.
First deer
that
rifle.
Was yours.
That was mine.
Still doesn't have one, right?
No, I do. Well, I would have to actually go with the 6.5 Creedmoor that I just bought when I first started here.
I suppose he's younger.
Well, no, I mean, I just bought that a year and a half ago.
Yep.
Yeah. And because growing up, I would use Dad's Winchester 30-30, Yeah. And then moved out to Colorado when I was 17 and bought a 30-06, but that was strictly for elk, and mule deer, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, I would have to go with that 6.5 Creedmoor. I hate to say it, but my first gun was a Remington 870 Express.
Really? Shotgun. Wow.
20 gauge.
And that was literally yours.
That was mine. Yeah. My dad bought me that gun. I grew up with his 22s and shooting squirrels and stuff. But yeah, the first one that was officially bought for me was that Remington 870 Express, which I still have and
you got to keep those ones. You got to keep those. My dad gave me when I was 13. I think it was a 22 single shot, like Sears and Roebuck or something. I'd have to look. I still have that gun. I gave it to my son when he turned 13.
Yeah.
And he got it when he was 13. So that one, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth shooting barely anymore, but it's just one of those things you're going to hand down. But that's why you got to keep them.
Yeah.
I've got a Ruger. Oh God, now I can't even think of what it is. Ruger Blackhawk? No. It's a Ruger 22 revolver. Interchangeable barrel. So it's got a 22 long rifle and 22 mag.
Sweet.
Yeah, is it a Ruger Blackhawk? I'm almost positive.
I don't know, but it seems like you've had it a while because Alzheimer's are setting in.
Right? Well, I'm like, okay, now they make so many different models. It's like I gotta double check.
Yeah.
Because I don't want somebody.
I'm starting to not believe you, actually.
I don't want somebody to say, oh, they don't make Ruger Blackhawk in 22. Oh, yeah.
Actually, I think I've shot that gun.
You have shot that gun. 22 pistol. Let's see.
Did you say interchangeable barrel or?
Sorry, cylinder.
Okay.
I probably did say barrel.
Yeah, because I've got the Heritage Arms.
Single 6. The new model. But see, I swear back then it was not just this. I don't think they called it the single 6, but they could have. Now they have the Ruger Super Wrangler and the Ruger Wrangler, and which mine was before the Wrangler and better. Because they started changing it and making it more alloy and everything else. So mine was way before that.
Crazyville. Yeah. You guys have like name brand guns. I have like the old ones like Harrison Richards, Sears.
Because you're old.
I'm not that much older than you guys.
Yeah, you're old.
Bad person.
You're old.
Yeah, well, I already got my son his first gun. He doesn't know it yet. He's about to turn 4. But yeah, his name's Henry. So got him a Henry Golden Boy.
Boom.
Yep. Well, like I had said, I had made my son a gun. I mean, it's mine for now, but and he shot his first deer with it.
That
350 Legend. Yeah, the ATF.
Yeah, it's a good looking gun.
Knocked her down at 100 yards. We'll hopefully have them guys in there.
Tracks.
Yeah, to tell the story.
Yeah.
Hopefully within the next week or so.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, it was, It was pretty cool. It was awesome to be there. We had it on video. Of course, I didn't think I'd have enough time to get out because I did have a handheld video camera. Didn't think I'd have enough time to grab it. So Jimmy got his camera.
Yeah, luckily somebody was thinking.
Yep, I did get it on Tacticam.
Oh, you did?
But you can, if you really look, you're like, okay, there's a brown spot. And then he shoots, and the brown spot disappears. It's like, yep, that was a deer, by the way.
That's kind of what you want.
So I mean, you can see it, and but the video quality. I mean, the video quality is good, but it was just that too much too far. And
Yeah,
even
it was
with your
100
video,
yards.
yeah, even with yours, it was about the same.
I wanted to get Aiden in there and the deer in there, so I couldn't zoom in so far. So I kind of got the whole.
Yeah, it was really cool. He
experience.
was so excited when I halted that it dropped, and yeah. We'll tell the story.
Yeah, when we get the boys,
we'll tell the story.
Let him tell the story.
Exactly, but it was amazing. It was pretty cool.
It was a good day. It was a good day.
But yeah, 350 Legend. I'm almost thinking I wouldn't mind hunting with it.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I want to get one with my bow this year, honestly.
I'm getting one with my lever gun.
Yeah, well, I'm doing both. Hopefully,
The only lever gun I have in my safe right now is a 22. Nope, I lied. I forgot I did have that 30-30, but I got to mess with it.
You mean shoot it?
Yeah.
It's probably iron sights, isn't it?
No, it's got a scope on it, but
it probably has iron sights.
It does have iron sights.
Rip it off.
Yeah, it's kind of, everything's loose.
What is it?
It's an old Winchester 30-30.
Probably still kill a deer.
I'm sure it probally would.
I mean,
I know it needs some cleaning.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Oh, no.
When's the last time you cleaned a gun?
I don't believe in cleaning guns,
Exactly.
actually.
Shut your mouth.
I like to flavor them.
like a cast iron skillet.
I still remember like one of your first muzzle loaders, and you didn't clean that thing. And I know the next year you got it out. It's like, yeah, I need to buy a new muzzle loader.
Those things get dirty.
Oh my gosh. And I shoot deer with those every year. So
You do?
Dirty. I'm actually, every year it's like a new thing. Oh, let's see how bad it is this year because I probably forgot to clean it afterwards.
And put the boar butter in it.
No, I'm pretty good about the boar butter because I like just piling that on.
Yeah, I looked at my barrel the other day because I was like, oh gosh, I haven't even looked at this thing in like 4 years.
Have you killed a deer with your muzzleloader?
I have not.
You know how many I've killed with my muzzleloader?
Yeah, I know. I've been with at least 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yep, I haven't. I haven't been that lucky or successful.
I'm not lucky. I'm just talented.
Yeah. You're lucky. But anywho, what do we say?
Vote yes.
Vote yes.
Vote yes.
Don't
please.
believe the BS. Don't trust the politicians. And
that
don't
should be
put it in the general fund. Come on. That's a no-brainer.
That should be the new thing. Vote yes. Don't believe the BS.
I like it.
I think we just started it.
I think so too. That should be like a new campaign.
We're going to just put a picture of you on a billboard. With that
Vote yes. Don't believe the
yes.
BS. I want to do jazz hands like Chris Lindahl.
There you go.
You should, dude. But we'll blur yours so it seems like they're
right. So they're shaking.
Or you got some weird disease.
Right. Yeah. I know. I got the shakes.
Yeah. But no, this is a pretty critical piece of legislation, constitutional amendment, actually, that will guarantee about $80 million a year going directly back into your public lands. So
so either give it to us conservation groups that'll do something good with it, or give it to the politicians who will do Lord only knows what it.
Yeah,
probably give themselves raises.
They will vote to raise their own salaries.
Right.
And we all know how well that works.
Yeah. No. Mm-hmm.
So on that note, vote yes.
Vote yes.
Don't believe the BS.
I like that.
There you go.
I do.
And we'll probably, I'm thinking we'll take this on the road and do a little podcast when we're at that public land ENRTF hunt.
Yeah, we totally could.
That would be cool. Yeah. Maybe we'll get somebody else on there too.
Yeah.
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 We can almost, why not?
We can do live-ish.
Like just some random
live-ish. There's a lot of outtakes that happen in this podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe
I don't think we're ready to go.
But if we're in public,
I don't trust myself, Dean.
I don't.
Yeah, that's true. I don't trust either.
I don't either because no. I mean, we might be able to do like a 5-hour delay.
There you go.
We can do that.
Yeah,
that's about as live as I'm comfortable with.
Yep, just enough to take out the words I shouldn't have said.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good with that. We can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we will definitely be taking our equipment down there and recording something.
Yes.
Something.
Because also that weekend,
Yeah.
we will be
let's
at
get into
the
that.
Orange Hat Night for the Wild Game.
That's right.
Boom.
We'll be on the concourse with a brand new Polaris side-by-side we're giving away.
Yeah.
And, and a flow trailer.
Yeah,
Right.
flow trailer will go
Yep.
with it. The Hunting and Holland sweepstakes, we're calling it.
Yes. Check it out.
You get a Colpin Polaris equipped Ranger set up for hunting, with pretty much all their best accessories for the Ranger.
Yeah. And it comes with a sweet Husqvarna,
Husqvarna.
whatever.
I think
it
it's
comes
called
with,
Husqvarna, but I like
with
to say
an all
Husqvarna.
orange electric chainsaw.
Right, which
Yeah.
it's only branded, but yes,
Whatever.
it's a great package. It's worth over $25,000, and you can see it this Friday at Ray Sport and Cycle. And I say this Friday, meaning hopefully I get this out before Friday.
It'll be out.
And then on November 3rd at the Excel Energy Center for the Wild Game.
For the Wild Game.
We'll
have it down
haul
there.
that thing right in there.
Yeah, they're going to drive her right in there.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll be there. Come say hi if you're at the game. Sign up. Get a koozie.
Get entered into the contest
Get
to win
entered in.
yourself
Yeah.
a sweet prize.
Yeah.
Yep.
I heard Kaprizov's going to be there with us.
Yeah.
That would
He's
be
probably
cool.
going to be on the ice, but he'll be there.
He'll be there with us.
No, he's going to come up and say hi and probably sign the side by side. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, we'll be there. And then the sweepstakes will be live on the website.
This Friday, it's going live at Ray Sport and Cycle. And then after that, you can go online and check it out. Check out all the great prizes and get your entries. I mean, there's no limit to how many entries you can get. And we'll be giving it away in March.
Yep.
So
It'll be sweet.
check it out.
Yeah. I wish I could win it.
Yeah, no, we're not
Me
allowed
too.
to.
Yeah, we're not
enter,
allowed to
dude.
participate.
Mhm.
Well, I guess that means you'll just have to buy me one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hunt and Holland sweepstakes. The MDHA Hunt and
Holland
Holland
sweepstakes.
What will you haul?
Boom.
Boom.
We're just taglines left and right here.
Exactly.
I know,
mean,
right?
you think
Vote
we're kind
yes.
of we're
no BS. What was it?
yeah,
Vote
vote
yes.
yes. No,
Don't
don't believe the BS.
There you go.
Something like that.
You know,
What
I
will
mean,
you haul?
What will you haul?
No
With the
BS.
Hunt and Holland sweepstakes.
I mean, it's like we're kind of
yourself
a
a Polaris.
marketing and communications group, huh?
Weird.
That's
Right.
crazy. Because we're just down the barrel.
Down the barrel. What you mean, Dino?
And sometimes Jared.
Hit that subscribe button, share it, like it, post it.
And if you have any questions about the ENRTF, ask them. Because
Let us know.
We'll monitor and we'll answer.
Or if you can find that verbiage that says it's getting rid of the LCCMR and just a free for all, please share it.
Yes.
Yeah, please let
'Cause I
us
would
know.
like to see
'cause
it.
I haven't seen it either.
Right.
No.
Or maybe it's a bunch of bullshit. Just saying.
Vote yes.
Vote yes.
yes.
And we'll leave it at that. Vote yes. Don't believe the BS.
Hunt and Holland sweepstakes.
Find those shirts online at dtv.com.
Later.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and Wolf Dot Report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.